34th Shanghai Tourism Festival is underway to help consumer spending. Things are already, in fact, picking up. Zhang Shixuan has more.
The hotels have been among the first to see the recovery in tourism, both international and domestic. For U.S. headquartered hotel group Hilton, this year has already brought better than expected performance, especially since the summer vacation.
In August, we see that major cities like Chengdu, Beijing, and Changsha, their both performance and recovery of the occupancy is much better than we expected. And we see that family travel, individual friends travel is very high demand.
China's tourism consumption has seen a continued recovery in the third quarter. Data from the China Tourism Academy says that during the summer travel peak between June and August, the number of domestic trips topped more than 1.8 billion, generating revenue of more than 1.2 trillion yuan. And the upcoming National Day holiday is expected to bring another boost, which could well come as a promising signal for the foreign invested firms here. Madame Tussauds Asian flagship in downtown Shanghai saw more than 1 million visitors a year before 2020, and it's proving just as popular now. It's just carried out an upgrade to some show areas to provide guests with more immersive experiences.
So far, we have like many peak season, May Day holiday, peak season like summer holiday. Actually, our recovery rate is around 60% compared with 2019. We have many guests from Jiangsu and the Zhejiang province, also the Shanghai citizen. Meanwhile, the North China and the East China, their guest number have been climbing up very much.
The company is continuing to launch new figures this year. Yang says the same number as in 2019, and an expansion which it intends to continue. The Shanghai Municipal Administration of Culture and Tourism reports that in the first half of 2023, Shanghai received almost 140 million domestic visitors, generating tourism revenue of more than 155 billion yuan, an increase of more than 100% year-on-year. Zhang Shixuan, ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.
As the pandemic restrictions were lifted, travel in China, of course, has picked up. Now demand for international travel in China is also skyrocketing. Travel outside China has reached its highest level in nearly 2 years. A recent survey says many will travel over the next 12 months, with Europe being one of the top destinations. The continent was almost inaccessible during the pandemic, yet they may not spend as much as many have expressed a desire to cut costs. Chinese travel spending is still above the global average. Now, for more on this, we talked to our expert, Christina Chi. She's the professor of hospitality business management at Washington State University. Welcome to the show. You know, these patterns of people who could not travel and now can travel, I guess it's consistent to what we've seen around the world, albeit perhaps a little bit delayed. Are you surprised by, I guess, the survey results that we see from China?
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah, as you said that China follows very similar tourism recovery patterns as other countries when it eased the travel restrictions earlier this year. Leisure travel and domestic travel are driving the recovery. Domestic tourism rebounded very quickly and strongly because people can't wait to travel after 3 years of isolation and limited mobility. The recovery of international tourism is slower, just like any other countries, right? For several reasons for Chinese. First is the number of international flights is still limited compared to pre-pandemic time, causing high prices of air tickets and also very inconvenient routes. This is changing, of course. And second is the processing of travel documents. It's slow and long, and this includes both a passport renewal and a visa application. We held a conference in Italy this past summer, and several delegates from China could not attend due to the delay of travel documents issuance. And then group travel also has not fully recovered, but that will change since the Chinese government is steadily opening more countries for group tours. Then, of course, there's also a slowing economy, which means people are more budget conscious when they make a long haul travel decisions.
Right. And Professor, that brings, I guess, the other problem, and we saw that here when things opened up and people wanted to travel. You pointed out there weren't enough flights, but the byproduct of that was that it was extremely expensive to travel wherever you were going, because we are all trying to do the exact same thing at the exact same time, and I don't know what the solution is, because getting planes back into the air takes time. The hotel rooms might be there, but you still have to get there.
So that actually benefits the domestic tourism, because people still want to travel, right? But they travel domestically rather than internationally. So that's what just now the video clips talking about, all those domestic destinations. It's very they rebounded basically to the pre-pandemic levels, and those top destinations are the usual suspects, the big cities, first-tier cities, but then also those destinations that provide these wellness experience have been and will remain very popular, such as like Hainan Island, right, that provides sun, sea, and sand, and then also Yunnan province have been very popular during the summer because of I was there actually this summer, the pleasant weather. They also have distinct cultural heritage and delicious food. So like I said, I was there in summer. It was in 70s when other places, not just in China, all over the world, they are experiencing one heat wave after another.
Christina, I apologize. I have time for one more question. You mentioned the economy earlier, and while there's obviously the costs, and the economy perhaps isn't as strong as some would like, is that having an impact, do you think, on business travel? Because that used to be a very, very big part of tourists, both going into China and coming out.
See, so that again, yeah, it's similar to the West, right? In the U.S., the same, and even now, U.S. opened earlier than China, but even now, the business travel has not recovered to the pre-pandemic level. So, I believe in China, you'll see the same trend. The business travel always will recover later than the domestic, than the leisure travel. So it will, but with this, just now in the video, they also talk about this, different with the national holiday, right, coming up, they call it Golden Week for tourism and in China. And I think the outlook is bright.
Right.
People just have the innate desire to travel, and for many people.
We did some traveling. You've done some traveling. What would some advice you would give for those planning a international trip? Because things are definitely different than what they were before, but the process is still the same. But as you said, we're trying to save money, right? What's your advice?
And in fact, just now, one of the main reasons for the cost is the flights, right? The number of flights is still limited, but now actually, the good news is, they're adding more flights, like between China and the U.S. now. Finally, agreements being reached. There will be more increase of flight, even though not to the pre-pandemic level, but I already see the flight tickets has dramatically decreased, the price of the flight ticket between China and the U.S. and the same with China and Europe. So that is the good news for the travelers. And for the, of course, yeah, just the usual, right? You want to book early. You not only book early, but all keep, continually track the price, because price change, the flight price, and then also the changes, constantly. So you need to keep, if you want to get a good deal, always,
One thing I notice is more airlines are now being more flexible. If you book a flight, for example, they're letting you change it. You may not get a refund, but at least you can use the credit for a different flight. So that goes to your point. Book early and keep checking on the prices. Professor Christina Chi, good to see you from Washington State University.
Thank you for having me.